No, it's not working. Is it working now? Yes. Okay, so in a nutshell, what I want to say to you this morning, we'll be talking from the story of Abraham in the Bible, which is one of my favourite. He's my hero. And he's been speaking to me in my life now for, well over 20 years, this story. And I feel as though it's been part of my life. And so I want to talk to you about this. And what I want to say to you is that our life in God is meant to be a life of movement. It's meant to be a life of growth, attuned to the voice of God. And my challenge to you this morning, each and every one of us, however young we are, however old we are we willing to hear God's voice telling us to go? And are we willing to respond? So before I start speaking to you, I just want to say how lovely it is to be with you this morning, and what a wonderful atmosphere it is in your church. It is quite a while since I was here, as Brian said, and can I just say, it just feels lovely here this morning. And it is wonderful to see so many of you here in the middle of the holidays. I can't believe how many people are here. So you're obviously growing, you're obviously thriving. I had a quick look at your website before I came. And it's just marvellous to see people released into their giftings. You're obviously a wonderful blossoming church, and it's a real blessing to be with you this morning. The last time I came to be with you, I told you a little bit of my story, and I can't actually remember exactly where I'd gotten to with you. But a couple of years ago, God started to move me out of my church, my much beloved church at that time. And I think I was in that process of upheaval at the time. It was quite a challenging time. But well before that, when my children were little, I was working at home with my husband, and I probably would have been sort of early 30s, late 20s. And we were working in the office one morning, and an email arrived, and it was from some friends of ours who were in mission. And Sid and I had responded even earlier on in our lives together, maybe in 1988. In our young married lives, we responded at a meeting where Norman Barnes was speaking. I don't know whether you've heard of Norman Barnes, and we responded and said that we wanted to go. We wanted to respond to a call to mission. And this had been in our hearts as young Christians and brewing in our hearts. And then one morning, an email arrived on our computer. And we read it. And it was some friends of ours who belonged to a missionary organisation. And they said that they were going to a conference in the Philippines. And it was still not too late if anybody wanted to join them. Well, this was the Monday, and the conference started on the Friday. And I looked at my husband and I said, I think I need to go. I think God's saying that I need to go. And bless him, he said, right, what do we need to do to make this happen? And so that was on the Monday, and I couldn't get a flight on the Thursday, so I ended up flying out on Friday and joined the conference a little bit late. And so I arrived in the middle of nowhere, scarily. I don't think I'd ever flown so far before on my own. I arrived at Manila Airport. I don't know if you've ever been to Manila, but it's a really scary place. There's millions of people. It's a huge city. Thankfully, somebody from our church had booked me a hotel because they couldn't pick me up till the next day. They said, oh, just sort yourself out. It's like, Mum with 3 small children, I just left them all at home to go to the other side of the world, following a call. And I went to this conference, and for the first time in my life, I heard the teaching about Abraham, and I heard this scripture for the first time from a whole new perspective. And it's the reading in Genesis 12. The Lord said to Abraham, "Leave your country, your people, and your father's household, and go to the land I will show you. I will make you a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you, I will curse. And all peoples on earth will be blessed through you." So Abraham left, as the Lord had told him, and Lot went with him. Abraham was 75 years old when he set out from Haran. He took his wife Sarai, his nephew Lot, all the possessions they had accumulated, and all the people they had acquired in Haran, and they set out for the land of Canaan, and they arrived there. Abraham travelled through the land as far as the site of the great tree of Moreh at Shechem. At that time the Canaanites were in the land. The Lord appeared to Abraham and said, "To your offspring I will give this land." So he built an altar there to the Lord, who had appeared to him. Abraham had a call from God to go. And at 75 years old, he went. So we're going to have a whistle-stop tour, actually, through the life of Abraham. We're going to finish at Genesis chapter 22. So hold on, and I'm going to try and do it fairly quickly. Now, Abraham had a wife, Sarah. She's called Sarai at this part. And what we're told in the preceding chapter is that Sarah is unable to have children, which, if you've been in that situation, is an agonising situation. So God tells him to go and tells him that he will bless him. Now that blessing is a blessing of fertility. It's a blessing of lots of descendants. And the word here that God uses is your offspring, your seed. You're going to have lots of children. You're going to have lots of offspring. You're going to have nations that are going to come out of you. But his wife is unable to have children. How is this going to happen? But you know, if Abraham had never gone, the promise that we've just heard this morning, of when we jump right to the other side of the Bible, right into Revelation, those hordes that stand before the throne, right at the end of time, tribes of nations, people from every tribe, nation, tongue, standing before the throne, praising God. If Abraham had not responded to the call of God, right here in Genesis 12, we would not be looking forward to that time. Abraham's obedience and his faith was crucial to the fulfillment of the promises that we stand in now. We are part of that, every tribe, every nation. We are part of the fulfillment of that promise. Right at the beginning of the Bible, we see God's heart, that it's planted right into the purpose of God now. The mission of the heart of God was that every tribe, every nation, not just Israel, would know about how awesome God was. But this is the beginning of a process in Abraham. And so as we look into the story of Abraham, we find out that there is a process in Abraham that begins at this point. And right from here, we find out that Abraham, just like us, begins a process of development and growth in his relationship with God. And like us, he stumbles and he falls. And we see immediately he has problems in his relationships. And even at the end of chapter 12, we see Abraham trying to pass on his wife as his sister. Right at the beginning of this journey, we see he has problems. He messes up. He blows it. His wife Sarah, who is supposed to be the mother of this promise that God's given him, of fertility, of blessing, of a child, ends up in the harem of Pharaoh. He nearly blows it. What would have happened to Sarah if she'd have got pregnant by Pharaoh? Abraham immediately, just like us, he blows it, he gets it wrong. And he ends up being completely shamed. God has to intervene. How many times has God intervened in our lives to stop us completely messing up? I know he has in my life. He's had to step in and say, stop. Or he sent somebody to me who's had to say, Rachel, you're messing up there. For goodness sake, stop. And thankfully, Pharaoh comes to his senses. God speaks to him. It's sorted out. Abraham's not got a word to say. He's completely and utterly shamed by his behaviour. Then Abraham has problems with Lot, his nephew. God says to Abraham, leave your family behind. Don't take them with you. His family worshipped other gods. They were what the moon god worshipped back in Haran. But he takes Lot with him, possibly. I don't know whether Lot was sort of like a bit of Benjamin's bets, you know, Lot was his nephew, Lot could have been his heir. He knew his wife couldn't have children, maybe that's why he took Lot. We don't know. But immediately, as God begins to prosper Abraham, not with children, but with goods and servants and sheep and cattle and goodness knows what, they start falling out. So there's a falling out and Lot goes his way. There's tension. And then Lot and his family they go their separate ways. Lot gets kidnapped. With all him, you have to read the book, it's really good. If you don't spend much time in the Old Testament, go to have a look at the stories. It's good reading. And Lot is kidnapped, and by this time Abraham has now got 318 men, just 318 men. God's prospering it. And Abraham launches a rescue bid and goes and saves Lot. Really exciting action stuff. But when he rescues Lot and they bring back all the goods and the servants and the slaves and the cattle and all the wealth back, and gets everything back from the king of Sodom, who Lot's been living with, we can see there's a development in Abraham's character. He's growing, he's developing. Because I don't know about you, but trials in our lives begin to develop character in our lives. We sometimes wonder, don't we, why do things happen in our lives? Why is this happening to me? But you know, when the kings that have lost all this stuff, when all the kings who have been part of this battle, when they come to Abraham and they say to Abraham, we're going to share these spoils of this battle with you. Abraham says, I don't want your money. I don't want your goods, because I don't want anybody to ever say that I've received anything from anybody other from God. Abraham knew that everything that he had was from God. And he wanted everybody to know that. Abraham is beginning to grow up. His character is developing. In Genesis 15, we see that Abraham is getting to know God. God is a God of promises. Abraham didn't know God very well at the start of his journey, and yet he still sets out on the journey. And in Genesis 15, we see this amazing ceremony. All the people who are reading this book would have known about a covenant ceremony. A covenant cutting ceremony. A covenant was when two people of power made an agreement. together and they made a covenant, a promise between them that they were going to live together and they were going to do business together. There was going to be protection between the person who had great power and the person who had little power. There was going to be a relationship developing between these two people. And Abraham says to God, how will I know that you're going to keep this agreement between us, that you're going to bless me? Because Abraham had got to this stage where he said, you were going to challenge God. How do I know? How do I know you're going to do this? And God says, I'm going to cut a covenant with you. And there's this really strange ceremony where Abraham was told that he had to get dead animals and cut them in half. It's a really, I want to get a picture for you. A heifer, a goat, a ram, a dove and a pigeon. And he had to saw them in half. I want to get you a picture actually. Because it's really, I couldn't, they were too boring. And I didn't know how many children you have here. But it's an absolute bloodbath. So he laid them out. And then he fell asleep. And God showed him a picture of what was going to happen in his life. But then when he woke, God appeared in the form of a torch and a bowl, and he passed between the animals. And this sounds a really, really great picture, but you know what it was saying? It was saying what happened normally was that the lesser of the two parties would walk between this gall. So normally it would have been Abraham. And Abraham would have been saying that if I break this covenant, what has happened to these animals? Let that happen to me. If I break this agreement between us, let that happen to me. But what happened is that God was the one who walked between the animals. God was saying, I will take responsibility for this covenant. The blood will be on me. The breaking of the covenant, the price of the breaking of the covenant will be paid by myself, said God at that time to Abraham. And the readers of this story would have known what that meant, that this was the most powerful covenant that could be made, and the most powerful party as a covenant was accepted responsibility for the breaking of that covenant. Abraham still doesn't learn. We don't learn, do we? Abraham tries to make everything work out with Ishmael. Sarah gives her servant maid and tries to force the issue to have a child. That ends in tears because Ishmael eventually has to be sent away with God's blessing, that he's sent away. It's not the way. But when Abraham's 99 years old, God appears to him again. He reveals himself to him. There's a slow revelation of the relationship between God and Abraham as God reveals himself. And this time, God requires a reorientation of Abraham. Because this time when God appears to Abraham, he tells him that the relationship is conditional. He tells Abraham that in order to continue the relationship, his walk must be blameless. He must walk alongside God. He must keep that close relationship with him. And have you noticed when you're first a Christian, there's abundant grace. And I think that's right. When I was first a Christian, God answered all my prayers just like that. And then as you grow into a relationship with God, you realise that actually there are ways of walking with God. God does require holiness. God does require purity. And as this relationship with Abraham and God progresses, Abraham realizes that he's required to walk closely with God. He's required to walk before God and to be blameless or perfect. There's that closeness of relationship. He's required to be circumcised and all his family. There's a sign of a covenant upon him, a sign of belonging. And thank goodness we're not required to do that now. So what do we learn? We learn that Abraham is a process of learning and walking. So that when we get to chapter 22, when God tells Abraham to go again, there's a new kind of relationship. And Abraham, by this time, we think is probably around 115 years old. So, it's not too late to go, however old we are. Sometime later, God tested Abraham again and said, "Abraham, here I am," he replied. There's that instantaneous response from Abraham. He's learned to start walking with God. He's there the moment God talks to him. God says, "Take your son, your only son Isaac, whom you love, and go to the region of Moriah. Sacrifice him there as a burnt offering on top of the mountain I will tell you about." And that form of speech, that "take your son, your only son Isaac, whom you love, and go," it's exactly the same form of speech as we've seen in Genesis 12. It's exactly the same form of speech. So this is the other epic journey that the writers want us to notice. This is the next huge step that Abraham's taken, not as a relatively young man at 75, but now as an elderly, frail man. His son is the same word for son as the youth. Isaac is not a young boy, he's not a child. This word is the same word as used for David when he went to fight Goliath. He's a ruddy youth, pre-marriage age, probably a teenager. 19 to 24, somewhere in that age. That's the age of Isaac. This is the child of promise. This is the child who signifies laughter and joy in the lives of Sarah and Abraham. I don't know if you put the picture up. I don't know if you can see that picture, but I just thought this is the love. I thought this picture showed beautifully the love between father and son. This is the relationship that's developed over the years. And so Abraham gets up and he saddles his donkey, and in the account, he gets everything back to front because he saddles his donkey and then he cuts wood, and if you read this account, Abraham's in a right old stew here, getting everything ready to take Isaac and so off to the mountain. And when he gets towards the mountain, he leaves the servants by and he says, "Stay here with the donkey, and me and the boy are going over and do worship and we'll come back to you." And Abraham takes the wood for the burnt offering and places it on his son Isaac, and he himself carries the fire and the knife. And the two of them went on together. Isaac spoke up and said to his father Abraham, "Father." "Yes, my son," Abraham replied. "The fire and the wood I hear," Isaac said, "but where is the lamb for the burnt offering?" Abraham said, "God himself will provide the lamb for the burnt offering, my son." And the two of them went on together. You can feel the pain, can't you, in Abraham. He is carrying the knife, he is carrying the fire. So what's God up to here? What is God doing to Abraham? They've developed this relationship. It's very clear from the reading of Genesis that Isaac is the seed. Isaac is the child of promise. Everything, Abraham's hopes and dreams, God's hopes and dreams, to get us to Revelation, where all the nations, tribes and tongues are going to stand before the throne of God at the end of time. Everything is tied up in Isaac. So what is God doing? He's testing Abraham, it says. Abraham lived at a time when it is common for children to be sacrificed. Abraham thinks this is normal for God at that time. In the nations around him, people sacrifice their children to the fire. Abraham doesn't know. He hasn't read Leviticus where it says that God hates child sacrifice. It's clear from our reading of scriptures from where we stand now that God hates child sacrifice. We know that God's not asking Abraham to kill Isaac. We know that because we've read our Bibles. But Abraham doesn't know that. This is an epic act of obedience and faith. Abraham says to Isaac, God will provide. He's setting out on a journey in complete faith, believing that God will provide. He's grown up in his faith of knowing that God will provide. They reached the place that God told him about, and Abraham builds an altar and arranges the wood on it. And he binds his son Isaac and lays him on the altar. Now he couldn't have done that without Isaac's consent. There must have been such a relationship of love between the two, and Isaac must have known his dad's relationship with his God. And as he reaches out his hand to slay his son, God stops him. Do not lay a hand on the boy, he says. Do not do anything to him. Now I know that you fear God because you have not withheld from me your only son, your only son. Abraham looked up, and there in the thicket he saw a ram caught by its horns. He went over and took the ram and sacrificed it as a burnt offering instead of his son. So Abraham called that place, the Lord will provide. And to this day it is said, on the mountain of the Lord it will be provided. And that place that it says in this translation it's called the Lord will provide, it's also called the Lord sees. That whole sense of that word is the Lord sees. God sees Abraham. He sees what's in his heart. He sees that his love for God, his obedience to God, it exceeds anything that he wants from God. It's his obedience and his faith totally exceeds any expectation of gain or the promise. He's willing to allow that seed to fall to the ground and die. And God is the God who provides. God is the God who sees Abraham's suffering. And God is the God who provides the answer and the solution in his obedience. The Jewish people call this story the Akedah, or the binding of Isaac. And at Rosh Hashanah, the celebration of the New Year, when they blow the shofar, the ram's horn, this is in celebration of the provision of the lamb, the provision of the escape from the Isaac's liberation, and the celebration of life that God gives us as God provides. God shows himself to be his solution and the giver of life in this situation. Thinking about Helen's words this morning, her dream that she had. You know, God is the God who provides. Remember I told you about the covenant cutting ceremony? God was the God who he took responsibility for the covenant. Where it should have been Abraham who walked between those carcasses and paid the price for the the breaking of the covenant that we actually live under. The new covenant that Jesus made with us was by paying the price of the breaking of that covenant and making a new covenant with us. He was the one who paid the price. He took the blood upon his head. And as Jesus and as God provided for Abraham. See, when, I don't know if you remember the story of Abraham where Abraham meets Melchizedek just after the battle with the kings of Sutton-in-Ashfield. Jesus said, unless the seed falls to the ground and dies, there can be no new life. It cannot produce new fruit. Abraham was willing, through his obedience, to allow his seed to fall to the ground and die. God had no intention for Isaac to lose his life on that day. He had no intention. It was not a story of child murder. It was a test of Abraham's obedience, because when it comes to growing church, when it comes to growing our lives, we need to be a willing and obedient response to God, to lay down our lives in faith and obedience like Abraham, to give our 10%, to give our lives, to give our obedience, to allow ourselves to die in so many ways, our wants, our needs, our own priorities, and like Abraham, to learn to respond when God calls, to walk before him, willing when God says go, to go. And I do believe in what heaven says, that if you follow faithfully, giving your 10%, that God will give his all, that God sees and that God will